All right, so go ahead right now, if you haven't already, download Unreal Engine 5.2 or just the latest version of Unreal 5. I'll leave a link for the Epic Games Launcher, which is where you can download and manage all of your Unreal Engine project settings. Pause this video and get this started now because it's going to take some time. There's a couple different stages we'll have to wait through because the download itself is going to be 50 gigabytes to both download and install on your machine. Here we're in the Epic Games Launcher under the Unreal Engine tab. And if you need to download Unreal, you can go over to the Library tab here. And here's where you can download, update, or add new or previous versions of the engine and manage them all right here. And then on the top right, we have a drop down for each engine version that I have installed on this machine. And from here, we can launch Unreal Engine 5.2. So if I scroll down, you can see all the different projects I have on this machine as well. And if I keep scrolling, we have our vault, which is all of the files that we've downloaded off of the Unreal Engine Marketplace. So if I go to the Marketplace tab here you'll find different asset packs or animation packs, all different types of resources that you can download directly into Unreal. There's also a lot of free content, so Epic Games has supplied a lot of content themselves. And downloading and dissecting some of these existing, and this is a great resource to start downloading and dissecting the different techniques they use to create their scenes. And there's also a tab for free for the month. So Epic Games also releases free assets that normally you would have to pay for. And a lot of times you'll get lucky and find an asset pack like this, where you'll have pre-made assets that you can just download and start creating a scene, blocking out environments that way. And lastly is the samples tab, which is a curated page of the best projects that Epic has, like the city sample. These are the latest and greatest project files that you can download, like the Meerkat demo or the Slay animation sample are great project files to download once you've completed this course to dissect in existing project files and see how other people apply these techniques. You're also going to have to download the project file for this course, which again will be underneath this video. And another thing you'll have to get used to when using Unreal Engine is compiling shaders when first opening or creating projects. Now you should know materials are the same exact thing as shaders. These terms can be used interchangeably. They're referring to the exact same thing. Materials is more of a VFX term and shaders is more of a game dev term. Now, what do I mean by compiling shaders? Now, you might see this pop up when you first open up a project or create a new project. And on the bottom left, you'll see compiling shaders and a large number there. It just means that Unreal is preparing our materials for real time. So Unreal Engine is not like a render engine. It's a game engine first. So we can play our games in real time, but Unreal has to crunch the code first. And that's what compiling shaders or compiling blueprints is doing. It's preparing the different assets in our project so that they can be used in real time. And I bring this up because you should expect this to happen every single time you're creating or opening a new project. Expect to wait a while, especially on slower machines. If you ever want your machine to compile faster, the only way to do this is just to upgrade your CPU. The speed of your CPU is directly correlated to how fast the shaders will be compiled. So a faster CPU will compile shaders quicker. You also may have to recompile shaders every time you enable or disable a plugin in your project. In order to use a new plugin, Unreal requires you to restart your engine, and sometimes you'll have to wait for your shaders to recompile when this happens. As far as other software, we are going to use a couple other softwares. We'll use Photoshop and Substance 3D Painter, and we'll also be using Nuke X non-commercial. Now, these aren't required, especially Photoshop and Substance. I'll supply all of the files that I'm creating in Photoshop, but to get the most out of this course, you should have these. There's free trials that you can download. And because we're using Unreal for VFX, I'm going to be teaching you the color pipeline within Nuke. This is not a compositing course. This is an Unreal course. But I'll be using Nuke because Unreal is going to render out an image sequence for our renders, and we're going to have to combine these together somehow to turn them into a video clip. And I'm going to be doing that inside of Nuke X, but you can also do this in any other compositing software. This is definitely more focused on the techniques rather than the specific buttons to press in these other softwares. So I'll try to teach the general concepts so you can use them in whatever software you're used to. So go ahead and start that download now if you haven't. And in the next lesson, we'll talk about some of the mindset shifts that we'll have to make when transitioning from old school visual effects into real-time visual effects.